everyone. Welcome to another episode of Cyber Smart Conversations with Harsha. I'm so delighted to be joined today by Senior VP of IT at Urban Edge Properties, Cecilia Lee. She leads the technology department of real estate to improve the shopping centers in and on the edge of urban communities. Cecilia is Realcom 2020 Digi Award finalist. Thank you for joining. How are you doing today?
Good, good. Thank you so much for having me today. It is an honor.
Pleasure is mine. So before we begin, this is one question I ask my guest. Tell us about your career journey.
Sure. Um, well, I have been in the information technology um, career for as much as I can, as long as I can remember. So it's been more than 20 years as a proven technology strategist and digital transformation. Out of all those 20 years, about 16 of those years have been in the real estate industry. I've worked for private, public companies in different asset types, including residential, mixed use, high street, retail, and commercial. Also, part of my real estate experience includes the real estate brokerage industry.
Great. And that's truly your journey, like 20 years.
Yes, it's been a long time.
So today's session is about technology and risk in retail. And the crisis has certainly impacted various property types differently. Broadly speaking, retail and hotels have been hardest, along with restaurants, gym, and other recreational properties. There will be a lot of challenges in those traditional asset classes, such as office, retail, hotels, which are likely to get worse before they get better. And there are a lot of areas where we believe there have been positive outcomes. So, how are things looking in the retail segment, and what measures in terms of operations and employee tenant safety you suggest?
So, look, as it is no surprise to people, the retail segment has been impacted just as much as it has impacted other businesses, especially for open air malls. Most people are truly shopping online since the pandemic, and so it has taken tenants and landlords to work together to become creative, to find a solution and to provide our customers a way to continue shopping, continue going to the restaurants while feeling safe and in creating minimal impact. So, as far as safety is concerned, I think most of the operators are truly just focusing on following the CDC guidelines and ensuring that they're taking care of as much as they can, and again, following the CDC guidelines every step of the way. For us, in our operations, we really try to get our employees to work in a safe environment, right? And using technology as much as we can to help that process, right? Starting from building a tracing tool, right, or a tool where our employees can fill out digitally a form where they can say, a questionnaire, fill out a questionnaire of their state, and prior to entering the building, getting checked, from a temperature standpoint, and make sure that they are truly allowed to go into the building, and utilizing technology using, QR code. So that we can actually monitor their state and also when they are coming in and out.
Yes, and definitely the consumer behavior is changing and technology adoption. But technology has already been in place in retail, especially to collect information on individual shoppers, which give retailers the ability to target directly to them while they are in the store. And in addition, information about office tenants, their employees can also allow landlords to tailor amenity offerings to improve the employee experience. So, what technology transformation trends are there in the retail industry as the sectors adopt to changes in this consumer behavior?
Hmm. Hmm. Well, I'll tell you more on the corporate side, right? Again, because we focus on open air malls and a lot of our technology, it's really towards our corporate. Um, what I'm seeing in digital trend that is changing at a very rapid pace is in uh, technology tools that enable our employees to work faster. Okay, so as an example, for our leasing team, we're creating technologies that enables to transact with our tenants faster or potential tenants faster, right? Utilizing again technologies that already existed for a while, but now we're continue finding use case scenarios, right? Such as process workflow, approval workflows, right? Whenever we have a a deal sheet, how do we go through that approval process? Whereas in the past, you used to go walk into the next office and sign that approval, right? And walk to the next office, right? Now everything is automated and you just use tools like, DocuSign to make those process flows, those approval processes that much faster, right? Um, Similarly, for not just for our leasing team, but for our organization, we're implementing things like business intelligence tools, right? Because there's so much data out there. To your point, right? Getting to know who is at our shopping centers, who's shopping, what's the right mix of tenants, right? And so when we are able to get all of that information in a single dashboard that enables our leasing team to make informed decisions, right? Um, then that would allow them to have information quickly at their fingertips, right? And negotiate in a much more informed way, right? And then it could be just as simple as finding the right mix of tenants, right? So as an example, through this pandemic, as when companies have gone bankrupt and then they say, well, we can't be in your center anymore. Well, one of the things that we as landlords need to do is assess what's the impact that it causes, not just to us as a company, but also how it impacts our tenants, right? The other tenants that are in the center. And so we need to quickly assess, okay, who's in that center? How do we find the next person that can be the right combination and the right mix that marries into that center, right? And so having that information quickly is key. And how do you do that is through data. And this is where we as technologists come into play to work with our business, understand their challenges through this pandemic, and finding solutions that can help them operate faster.
Yes, and indeed, building automation and automating the processes and applying analytics to data, it really generates insights that benefit the industry. And retail, especially, not so much associated on the landlord side with open air mall, but on the tenant side. A lot of sensors and connected device are there to enhance the in-store experience. And then, as you said, the sensitive customer information to make the shopping experience more convenient. And we have seen devices such as a self scanner or a point of sale system that enhances the customer experience, but also poses serious challenges. With IoT and OT devices, the increased attack surface, and then there are so many vulnerabilities that exist in these hardware and software. So, as an organization, when it comes to implementation of technologies, what are some of the strategies you use to mitigate the risk associated with the technology and storing the sensitive information?
Oh, absolutely. We take it very serious, right? Whenever we have a new we start off with, what is the problem? What is the solution? And once we find the partner that brings the right solution to the table, we go through a vendor risk assessment, right? Do they check all our boxes? Right, it's about the the risk embedded in any of these solutions and in the reputation impact that it can have if they don't meet all those requirements and God forbid something happens, right? So, are they SOC compliant? If they are a credit card, if they handle credit card information, are they PCI compliant, right? So, we need to just make sure that they check off all the boxes, and we do that with all of the potential partners that we're bringing on board. As an example, we are about to bring on VersaPay as part of our solution, and they are the solution. It's meant to help our tenants find a better and more convenient way to make payment, right? So that it's all in one dashboard, one portal, right? They don't have to go to different places, and now it's all digital. It's a lot more convenient, right? But the convenience, you need to find the right partner that can actually be secure enough that create that balance between convenience and security, right? That's the famous seesaw between convenience and security, and how you find it how do you find a partner that can get that combination right?
Definitely, yes. And the vendor risk assessment, it helps to assess the risk that is associated with the supply chain. So to know how secure your vendor is, because if they get attacked, it cascades to your organization.
Absolutely. In addition to that, I think it's important for not just the tools that you have in place, but your own infrastructure, right? All companies should be conducting a vulnerability management program so that they can assess on a yearly basis how they're doing. Hackers are very smart, right? And they just don't stop at one try, right? This is an ongoing situation. And, in addition to testing or ensuring that your partners meet those criteria, ensuring that they do so on a yearly basis, doing the same with your own systems by way of a vulnerability management program, a whole lot of education, right, with your teams, with your staff. I can tell you, we do this on a quarterly basis with our team, and we constantly educate them about the risk that they're exposed, right? Or that we can be exposed as a company. So absolutely, cybersecurity, it's such an important part of the digital transformation experience.
Yes, and you said right, because education and awareness is the key, because the threats are evolving, and if we don't educate our staff, our users, so they are the first line of defense, and also they are the weakest link. And you have seen, like, these days, these phishing attacks have been on rise with this situation. They were, but now it has on rise. So definitely education and awareness is the key to mitigate the risk. And it also helps understanding the overall security posture of an organization.
Mhm.
But before we sign off, one piece of advice for retail class to navigate through the crisis.
I think the best piece of advice is to never stop trying, never stop trying to find out what is a way to be better. We as landlords try to do our best to work with our tenants to find solutions, and we as technologists tried our best to work with our operations team so that we can then help them and in turn help our tenants. But my best piece of advice is continue working relentlessly and collaborating together to find solutions, always keeping in mind that what's key is working on that customer experience and that that service that we can provide, because in this digital age, one thing it's true is that we're still craving for that social aspect.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, innovation is the key.
All right.
Thank you, Cecilia. Thank you for sharing those practical insights.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, and pleasure talking to you.
It's a pleasure.
To all those listening, thank you so much for joining.